God, folks. Well, here we are on day 2, I think, of the TR-4 tear down and clean up, rebuild, renovate, whatever you want to call it. And today has been sanding and painting. Two very fun things I always look forward to doing. But anyway, it was a nice hot day today, and so decided I would just get some of this out of the way. Here we are now in the backyard. The base of the TR-4 is I've finished painting, priming and painting the underside, and now the top side is got its second coat of primer on it, and it's coming along really good. And cleaned up, sanded all the rust off, and it'll be well, it'll never be new, but it'll be almost like new. And here we have another little piece of the front trim that holds a cooling fan, so it's been primed and has a coat of paint now. And here is the cabinet off of its base. And you know, it's not bad. I've certainly worked on a lot worse. I guess the one thing that maybe was the most destructive to this machine was it was run for probably years in its active life with not a very good air supply, and you can see a little bit right here. There would have been an air tank here originally, and you can see some water marks and some rust stains where that had been leaking. That's not really a big thing there, that'll clean up. Over here though, in the transport compartment in the cabinet, there's some pretty major rust happening right there. And now what has caused that is right up above here is where the solenoid air valve is mounted for the head guide, to engage the head guide. And there's probably been an air leak here somewhere. And of course, anywhere you've got an air leak, if you've got any water in the line, it's going to blow the water out, you know, just like the air. And I think that's what's happened, is something was leaking around this valve, and over time it's dripped down and started the cabinet to rusting. You can sort of see some little tracks here where it's been running down. That's fixable. It's not, you know, anything fatal or anything like that. I'll need to unscrew the little keepers for the harness here, and take this little relay shelf here, unloosen it so I can just lay it all over here out of the way, and probably cover all this up with a cloth, and then sand that with a sander you know, start about here and just sand all the way down to about here and sand that rust out and prime it and paint it again. That's really the only place is on that, I guess that stiffener, you know, that stiffens this cabinet wall up. Everything else looks pretty good inside. Well, we have a couple little spots here. I may hit that with the sander and put a little paint there just to, you know, it's nothing major, but why not? I'm already doing it. Basically, the rest of this stuff just needs a good going over with some Scotch-Brite to get all that dust, you know, that's caked on over the years, get it loosened up, and then just blow it all out with the compressed air hose. Clean it up really good. And you know, I noticed this machine here has been upgraded to a fast lockup module. That didn't come on the original TR-4s. That was an upgrade that you could add in later. So somebody whoever had this machine, you know, back in the TV days, they had maintained it and kept up with the upgrades, it seems. Now here's another thing that's going to get replaced, is these oil-filled AC capacitors. Those things are notorious for getting hot and spewing. You know, and of course that one looks like it's 50 years old, so, you know, those are used on motors, AC motors. This one here is across the secondary of the capstan power transformer, which would be mounted right here behind the transport. So this is actually the capacitor for the capstan motor, which is a 120 volt AC motor. And so that's definitely going to get replaced before it has a chance to explode. One aside here for some of the folks that follow me on the ACR25 rebuild. This is the last 3 panels to the ACR25. I just dug them out of the little quad shack out back here when the weather warmed up. And this is one of the upper sides on the transport cabinet, and this is the 2 back doors to the back of the transport cabinet. So I'm going to be on them here pretty quick now that the weather is warmed up, and finish getting all the panels painted. I'm down to the last 3, and let me tell you, if you haven't repainted an ACR25, that thing has got more panels on it. You will paint and paint and paint. Now, here is the TR-4 and the TR-60 transport plates laid side by side that we can compare now. On the old 4, if you remember back in the previous video, you know, it had the front erase head, and originally it had came with a fixed guide, which was an air guide that used air to lubricate the tape motion over the guide. And those things never worked that good. For whatever reason, I'm not sure. This 4 had been upgraded at some time. Somebody had drilled another hole to install a roller guide, which is a modern an upgrade from the earlier air guide. And so that had been done, and then of course it still had the old front side erase head, and that's what I really wanted to get away from. You know, those things were just notorious for messing up tapes, even when they were new and the tape was new. You know, now tapes are 60, 70 years old, and there's no way you'd want to run a tape over one of these things now. Here is the 60, and with its guide hole, and this is for a rear side erase head. And so it runs, you know, the tape, the rear side of the tape is in contact with this head. So it creates no danger or makes, you know, doesn't damage the front side in any way. And so that's, you know, completely safe. Now, one other thing this does is it also acts as the standard for the canoe, and if you know or remember, you know, the tape canoes around the vacuum guide here on the video head, you know, and it's like a C shape, and it's flat up here, and so it fans out to a C shape when it's pulled through the vacuum guide. And then as it exits the video head, you have the audio and cue erase head right here, followed by a fixed guide right here. And this is the standard on the exit side to flatten the tape out again from the canoe. So, you know, it's kind of important that this is here and it's in the right place, you know, position, to get the tape at the right spot, you know, going into the guide on the video head. So that's kind of an important detail right there. And of course, right here, there's already been a hole drilled, and if we did this deal here and moved over here, you know, we would kind of be, well, we're running out of material here to drill and tap to, and I kind of was afraid of that. And also, this insert would have to come out. That's a steel insert, you know, for the head to sit in. So that's another thing I'd have to deal with. And then you've got a hole here, and well, you know, you could do it, but it's going to turn into a, you know, a fiasco. And so that's why this and all this, you know, took place, is I wanted to make it as clean and as good a job as I could possibly do it. Well, anyway, the only thing that I have to do here now is I need to drill one hole for the post that attaches the head cover. The original head cover on a 60 covered the whole, all the heads, and it had a post down here. And of course the TR-4 had one that just covered the video head only. So I got a little bit of work right there to do. I need to drill one hole. And otherwise, all the other holes and positions, they are identical between a 4 and a 60. So, you know, this project can succeed, you know, just based on that RCA was slow to change things from model to model, and usually a lot of the things that were started on one model carried over into 2 or 3 other models, which, you know, is, for what we're doing, is a good thing. Now, if you remember in our last video, I was debating whether to use the head mountings from the 4 in the 60 transport. And if you remember, it was 3 separate pieces. You know, there was the top one was the power plug and control track, and the air bearing inlet for the air, the head bearings. Now, this one had an air bearing kit installed in it, so it was you know, ready for air or rotary, or I should say ball bearing heads. And then below that, in the middle, you had the head wheel blower strip, you know, that had the big hose going over to the motor, you know, that blows cooling air on the video head motor. And then down below, you had the mount for the preamp. Well, now that's a lot of hole tapping and drilling and tapping that the 60 does not have those holes, you know, because they didn't use that 3-piece approach to the video heads. What they had was this. Now that's a casting out of a 60. And no, I didn't tear the 60 apart in the garage, so don't pounce on me. I didn't tear that one up. This is just one laying around, a spare. That's found its way here over the years, days, months, weeks, whenever. And I had thought maybe that it may work or it may not work with the old TRT heads. And after doing a little bit more checking and comparing, I found that this will indeed work on the old TRT video heads if you do not use the record guide standard here. And what this was something that was added on the 60 that the 4 never had. And it was another air piston cylinder and a little a lever here. And what this did was, when you went into record mode, there was another air solenoid that energized this piston and pulled that little lever over, and it pushed a little plunger in on the back of the well, what would be a high band RCA head, you know, I think it's the MI5914 C, I believe, which was, you know, the high band color head. And that set the vacuum tape guide to a standard position for recording, making a recording, I should say. The 4 never had that. You know, it was wherever the guide was when you pushed record, that's that's what kind of recording you got. And so since we're going to be doing play only, I'm never going to record with this machine. This doesn't have to be here. And so by not having this record guide standard attachment on this casting, it will allow a TRT low band head to plug in here, or to bolt down here, I should say. And that really made my life a whole lot easier by not having to drill and tap all those holes and mount those individual pieces on the 60. Now a step further with this would be to, which I've already done here, was to remove, this is a 60 preamp enclosure, and this is that's a 4 and a 22 preamp enclosure. So you see there's quite a bit of difference between the old low band TR-4, TR-22 and the high band 60 preamp. And so, as it is with a lot of things RCA, they were slow to change things, and this time it was no different. So the old TR-4 preamp enclosure will bolt right up to the TR-60 casting, and that'll allow us to use our TR-4 preamp electronics and the old low band TR-4 or TRT type video head on the 60 casting. And that just made my life a whole lot easier.